Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 4, canto 4, chapter 16, text number 9. 9 and 10. Apyaeti asolokam vadanamritamurtina vanuragavalokena Vishadasmitacharuna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. This King Prthu Maharaj, by virtue of his affectionate glances and beautiful moon-like face, which is always smiling with great affection for citizens, will enhance everyone's peaceful life. Text 10. Avyaktavartamaisa niguda karyo gambira veda upagupta vittaha ananta mahatmya gunaika dhamma Prthu pracheta iva samvritatma. The reciters continued, no one will be able to understand the policies the king will follow. His activities will also be very confidential, and it will not be possible for anyone to know how he will make every activity successful. His treasury will always remain unknown to everyone. He will be the reservoir of unlimited glories and good qualities, and his position will be maintained and covered just as Varuna, the deity of the seas, is covered all around by water. Purport. There is predominating deity for all material elements, and Varuna, or Pracheta, is a predominating deity of the seas and the oceans. From outward appearances, the seas and the oceans are devoid of life. But a person acquainted with the sea knows that within the water exist many varieties of life. The king of that underwater kingdom is Varuna. Just as no one can understand what is going on beneath the sea, no one can understand what policy King Prthu was following to make everything successful. Indeed, King Prthu's path of diplomacy was very grave. His success was made possible because he was a reservoir of unlimited, glorified qualities. The Upagupta Vittaha is very significant in this verse. It indicates that no one would know the extent of the riches King Prthu would confidentially keep. The idea is that not only the king but everyone should keep his hard-earned money confidentially and secretly, so that in due course of time, money can be spent for good practical purposes. In Kali Yuga, however, the king or the government has no well-protected treasury, and the only means of circulation is currency notes made of paper. Thus, in the time of distress, the government artificially inflates the currency by simply printing papers, and this artificially raises the price of commodities, and the general condition of the citizens become very precarious. Thus, keeping one's money very secretly is an old practice, for we find this practice present even during the reign of Maharaja Prthu. Just as a king has a right to keep his treasury confidential and secret, the people should also keep their individual earnings a secret. There is no fault in such dealings. The main point is that everyone should be trained in the system of Varnashrama Dharma, so that the money is spent only for good causes and nothing else. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Before that, this King Prthu Maharaj, by virtue of his affectionate glances and beautiful moon-like face, which is always smiling with great affection for citizens, will enhance everyone's beautiful life, peaceful life. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the praise for King Prthu continues. Prthu Maharaj is described here that his glances on his beautiful moon-like face, which is always smiling with great affection, that itself will bring everybody a peaceful life. Then there will always be a mystical element around King Prthu. Many of his activities will be very confidential, and it will not be possible for everybody to know how he makes every activity successful. Very interesting. His treasury will always remain unknown to everyone. He'll be like hidden, like Varunas. You only see the seas, but within the sea, ocean, there is a whole kingdom of Varuna. So in the same way, it is described here that the king has to keep some things confidential and not make it known to everyone. Very interesting. Contrary to modern governance principle of keeping everything transparent and open to everyone. This situation arises and is necessary when people are prone to corruption. Now we are talking about an ideal king, ideal ruler, Prthu Maharaj. In such a scenario, you can see that total transparency is not recommended. Transparency means transparency of information. This is very intelligent because information is processed by different people differently for different purposes. So when the king, on behalf of the Supreme Lord, is endowed with so much of richness, opulence. That information can be mishandled by different people according to their different purposes. They can become envious. Being a king, always there will be enemies. So the enemies can misuse the information. So it is very interesting that the method of governance completely changes when there is an empowered king, the pure representative of the Supreme Lord. He does not have to be transparent with his governance, because he is under the check and balance of the Supreme Lord himself. You don't need check and balance from bottom. In democracy, there is a need for check and balance from bottom. In democracy, if we get an honest ruler, we'll be lucky. Therefore, wealth of the nation has to be secured by proper, transparent mechanisms, where people who are handling the wealth on behalf of the people, the few individuals who are handling the wealth on behalf of the larger mass of people, they do not misuse the wealth, the riches for their personal gratification. So this principle of transparency, from this we can make out very interesting. It is not an absolute principle for a king or a leader. Secrecy is required because a Kshatriya's work. Kshatriya has to maintain certain secrets. It is said in history, all the big wars are won on the strength of information from the enemy. All the big wars are not won always who is stronger and who is weaker. If the weak has got very crucial information about the strong, then the strong can lose. So it is good practice to keep people who are handling power should keep confidentiality of many things, so that it is not abused, misused by the enemies. Normally, unless we have such a shastric provisions, like Prabhupada says, there is no fault in such dealings. We cannot understand this in our normal present circumstances, present democratic system, present means, present ways in which the modern organizations run. We are, by default we think, yes, it is an absolute principle, transparency. But here it is shocking to see that how one of the qualities of Prthu Maharaj was that his activity is also very confidential. But he will make all the activities successful. His treasury will always remain unknown to everyone. When you say ideal king, ideal kshatriya, modern people who govern the country, govern the institution, they won't agree with this. How is the ideal ruler? Should be transparent. So a certain kind of a covering is there all around his activities, his powers, his strengths. It will be not completely known to everyone. It's a very good principle revealed here, but not necessarily we can imitate this. One has to be a transparent monarch, like Prthu Maharaj, who does everything on behalf of the supreme monarch, supreme personality of Godhead Krishna. And then all these kind of qualities are very much required for a Kshatriya. And Prabhupada talks about modern world, how real treasure is replaced by currency, printed currency, which creates inflation when we keep on printing the currency. Which is not the way in which original money, originally the money meant, money itself is a commodity. There is money is only a real commodity that is used for exchange. Gold. 100 rupees means 100 rupees gold value is there in that coin. So, real value material is used. It can be gold, it could be anything. It is not based on paper currency. In paper currency, cheating can happen. One kind of cheating is this inflation. In 1960s, petrol per liter was 1 rupee 90 paisa. Today it is 100 rupees. 1 rupee and 100 rupee. Petrol is the same. That means 100 times they have increased the currency. But transaction is same. So temporary relief is there. More money in circulation. But actually same things are being transacted. So petrol has become 100 rupees. Just like you see, if petrol increases, immediately vegetable price will go up. Even all prices will go up. But what percentage it goes up? There's no mathematics, there's no arithmetic. Simply inflation, they calculate observed inflation. Why it inflates only this much, why not more? So in that way, this whole modern economics is like a black hole. One cannot actually get hold of this currency economics. Why only dollars? If I have to buy something from outside India, or any country wants to buy anything from outside his country, he has to pay in dollars. Means each country has a dollar account in America. The dollar belongs to America. From Amazon, you buy one book from India. It may be 1,000 rupees. But ultimately, India has to take that 1,000 rupees and pay from India's account, dollar account, to Amazon. Amazon will only accept dollars. So there is a domination of dollar currency, one currency. If you have to buy oil, if India has to buy oil, it has to pay in dollar. If India has to pay in dollar, India has to buy dollars. Or India should have dollars. That means outsiders should buy things from India. Because they also have to, anything from outside also, we will insist you pay in dollars. They have to pay in dollars. So for buying and selling, each country has a dollar account in America. So dollar currency, they print and they increase the flow of currencies. We have no control over it. So it's very, very complicated. Everybody knows, all economists, everybody knows that it is a very shaky system. And Prabhupada, now, when Prabhupada said there will be a third world war, modern wars need not necessarily be based on bombs. It can be on chemical, just like pandemic, so much scientific advancement, you create one pandemic and leave it. Or you maneuver the world economics, world money flow, you maneuver it in such a way that economics collapse of different countries, the economics collapse. And when that is as good as destroying the enemy. So all this, because the root cause of all this is the society has become a complicated, become a huge complex. Earlier societies were small, village economies. Just like we try to keep India together in spite of globalization. We have to keep so many restrictions the government of India put to keep that within India everything is stable. You want to bring money from outside, also they check, they restrict. Just like institutions like ours, foreign contribution, you have to get, then that needs a special account, special permission. Because if foreign money comes inside, then it can destabilize the country. So coming back to the original Lord's way of social governance was a system of Varnashrama Dharma. More or less, it was like a small community-based economics. Because basically man's need was being catered to from the land. Wealth was from the land, growing food. And the energies of the individuals were not going for producing consumer goods. They were not going for working hard to buy those consumer goods. The world has changed. How an individual has lived 100 years back. Individually is same. The spirit is the same. Spirit soul is the same. Body is the same. But how he lived 100 years back, his needs were very less. So the energy is same. So all his energies were used for spiritual development. Now that has completely changed. The Varnashrama system itself is damaged. It's because there is no king. Actually, Varnashrama system is a very powerful economic system. They made it into a caste system. No, it is based on profession, Varna. Based on Varna. Varna means profession. Somehow, there are multiple reasons cited by historians why this Varnashrama system has been schemed by some people to turn it into a caste system, taking advantage of the very Indian community, using them itself to turn it into a caste system by foreign powers to weaken the society. Otherwise, India was known to be the richest in the world, richest country in the world. We had through our Varna system, we had all kinds of production in the society. But those productions were meant for necessities of man. So we should be able to, see this modern society as from the perspective of our scriptures, from the perspective of Krishna, the creator of this society, creator of this world, creator of the material world. In this scheme of creation, how this social organization should have happened. If there is need for peace and prosperity, present prosperity is not prosperity. Just like people will say, no, you talk all kinds of things, but don't you really think that CT scan, this machine, that machine, how much medical science has now contributed towards the health of the people? What is the answer? It's Maya's trick actually. You create so many new diseases and you create new machines. Suppose diseases were not there, you don't need all this. You don't need CT scans. You don't need all these expensive diagnoses. Well-trained Ayurvedic doctors used to just touch your nadi and tell you which organ is you're having problem. Lung or kidney or whatever it is. He'll just move his finger like this. So where is the training gone? Gone. Modern medicine. Only if we have these things heard from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, we can actually perceive this huge scam. Scam of pharmaceutical. We are cheated. Modern civilization Just cheaters and cheated. Cheaters and cheated. Prabhupada repeats that. You're going to a doctor, then he's trained to cheat. He's not really curing, he's trained to cheat. Why is it trained to cheat? So the system is like that. Because if he has to succeed and survive, sustain his life, then he has to prescribe the medicines. And the medicines are all created by big pharmaceutical industries. An immediate result, you get something, but that is not, health is not about immediate result. That is the cheating. Maya always, what is Maya's way of cheating? Even with our own senses, what is the way of Maya's cheating? Immediate gratification I'll give you. She's make a whole system out of immediate gratification. Whether that immediate gratification is actually helpful to you in long term, because you have to exist tomorrow also. You have to exist till the body has to exist till death, exist. Whether this immediate gratification is going to be neutral or is going to worsen my situation or is going to harm my future, nobody sees. That means they're cheating now. If you're saying that I am meant to take care of your health, if you're only immediately giving on one injection and ho gaya, on one tablet you take, you relieved of your immediate pain. So it has its own place. But today medicine means only that. It cannot be only that. You have to have immediate relief as well as you need a long-term solution. Take care of your health. So wellness is not about medicine. Wellness is about this lifestyle, how you live. Doctor should be telling, you live like this, you don't live like this. Don't do these things with your body, don't do these things with your body. Ayurveda is to advise that. Don't eat this, eat this. So to grasp this large-scale cheaters and cheated civilization, it requires to hear from our scriptures, which has a variation called Varnashrama, which relieves us of all these problems. That is why Prabhupada was towards the end he was preaching. If he have to do good to the world, then this non-caste based, non-birth based, should not be based on birth. Varnashrama system should be set up for social organization. Not Varna system, Varna Ashrama system. Because this Varna is about profession. Now everybody is only concerned about profession. Your profession should be linked to ashrama. That means each profession has to be executed keeping in mind the soul's real goal of liberation from this material world. Freedom from suffering from this material world. So 4 ashramas and 4 varnas. Varna has to be practiced being situated in one of the 4 ashramas. So that Varna supports your journey in that ashrama. You're a brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. Each of them have a spiritual objective. Each ashrama has a spiritual objective. You fulfill that spiritual objective in brahmacharya ashram, then you successfully enter into grahastha ashram. Certain things for your spiritual progress you should do as a grahastha, sense of responsibility, everything. You do that, then you move to Varnashrama, Vanaprastha, and then sannyasa. So the modern society, the modern leaders are completely blind to what is the purpose of an individual taking birth in this world. Fundamental thing, they are blind. Which was known to everyone in this country. That if I take birth, my goal should be to become free from birth and death. It was known to everybody. Moksha, Mukti, every villager knew about it. It did not need any big education. Law of karma, everybody knew. In this country, everyone knew. It was not very long back also, even in our childhood also. Karma was a very common talk when we were very young. Bad karma, good karma, how were they? There is no talk at all. It was a common thing even in the society. People were scared to do bad karma. Any questions? Yes, Mike.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. We are in an organization wherein we are being trained as Brahmanas. So where does the principle of transparency begin and end? Because Brahmanas have to be transparent, but we also have an organization element.
What is the last part?
So Brahmanas are supposed to be transparent.
Brahmanas.
But we also have an organization aspect also. So where does this principle begin and end?
Within us?
Within us and outside also, probably.
No, within us we are, according to our Varna, in the organization. You are role-playing as a Kshatriya, you are role-playing as a Vaishya. What is the general classification of Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya? One kind of activity that you do defines you as Brahmana. Another kind of activity defines you as Vaishya, Kshatriya. So, we cannot live in this world. Suppose we all act as Brahmanas. The organization will collapse. Right? So we are taking roles, but common thing about us is not about Brahmana. We are being trained as Brahmanas. We are being trained as servants of Krishna. We should understand that. And if you don't want an organization, okay, you go to Radha Kunda, sit and do the japa. Only that you do. You can only focus yourself in developing Brahmanical qualities. And that also because the nature is not there, that's why our acharyas tell that don't try to imitate. Not just you take a decision to go to Radha Kunda, you'll become a Brahmana. Or a self-realized person. So, in our Krishna consciousness movement, what Prabhupada has actually done, that is why there is no filter for us when you come into the institution. When you join, at that point of time, nobody is actually checking your varna, ashrama, all those things. Come in as a servant of Krishna. And then whatever according to your capacity, naturally in the system, organization, everybody will fall into place. Because nobody can, if somebody doesn't have ability to paint something, he cannot become a painter. He has to be an artist. Like that, each one of us have got this. The abilities required in this material world is so vast. The skills required in this material world is such a broad spectrum it is. And without one cannot replace the other. It just does not work. In this microphone, this has its work. This tip has its work. Switch has its work. Switch cannot become this. This cannot become this. When all of them are put together, then it works as a microphone. Similarly, for instance, this temple has to run. So many various kinds of skills are required. So, in service of Krishna, we just see where the skills are there. In whom what skill is there. In the outside world, originally the caste system means what? Skills were rubber stamped, not by birth. It turned into rubber. You are born a Brahmana, you are born a cobbler, you do only cobbler job. It became like that. So this beautiful Varna and Ashrama system was destroyed by rubber stamping. Now you come to Krishna consciousness movement, so many jivas join, their mind-body system has got different skills. We don't see where you are, what born, and we actually see the skills. Suppose you do some skill, you fail in that skill, we'll shift your service to something else. Like this we try, and then you say, okay, he's settled here. He has got skill for this. Then that is how in our organization people settle. Based on actual skills we see as they go. And devotee also have to be very satisfied, contented that his skills are engaged. If your skills are not engaged. But of course it's not at the beginning. First is to learn I am a servant of Krishna. So even if a CEO of a company comes and joins, we'll first make him 6 months, 1 year to understand Dasatva. Servant attitude. No, I am CEO, I can do so many things, you are making me wash pots. No, you wash pots. When against your skill you are doing something else or underskilling yourself, your mind will start thinking. So you have to understand that now we are not using you for productivity. Krishna is not using you for productivity. Krishna is using you now to develop Dasatva, servant. Whatever you are asked to do, you do. We also, administration also does not have any idea when a person comes what skill he has or not have. Correct? So, in the course of it, the authorities, they observe what skills this person has got. Then that skill will be dovetailed. This is the expert management that is required. Otherwise, this organization cannot grow. It cannot go simply by people copying. Oh, in this particular service, there is a lot of power, there is a lot of this. So I want to become that. Do you have the skill to do that? Oh, if I become a leader, people will listen to me. Oh, very nice, I want to become a leader. Do you have the ability to be a leader? Fundamental things are required. So like that, oh, if I have financial powers, it's so nice. What is wishful, what you observe outside, that is different from what is the actual ability that you are having, which you are given to Prabhupada, and that has to be engaged. So this is the answer for some devotees who say that, see, even within our organization, we are not, everything is not going as per Varna. It is going as per Varna. But immediately it may not, because we are not interested in, Varna is about productivity. Our goal is to produce for Prabhupada and Krishna, don't doubt. As an organization, different productivity is a must. But most important thing is food for the soul, to develop the servant attitude, all those things. Then our Varna can be. So ashrama is important and Varna is also important. Where does this devotee stand with respect to his ashrama, his spiritual interest, etc., etc.? Put a break to all your skills as a CEO and all those things. Junk it somewhere for now. Be a bhakta. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।